This is a video for a recap on the ES Runner and Euro Runner trading systems for July the 2nd, 2012. Starting off with the pre-market, today was a very choppy and difficult day to trade. 2 days before July the 4th, the US markets are lighter on volume. Pre-market was difficult. We had a lot of news events today. The pre-market had a trade here that went long, but there was an exit before the news event at 4 a.m. So there wasn't a trade to be taken here at 3:30. Plus, there was a 3:30 news event to go long. So there was no earlier morning pre-market trades before 5 a.m. There was a scalp here that was taken. It fit the rules of what's called an intra-series scalp. But intra-series scalps later into a move that are over 7 points, 7 to 8 points, become dangerous. Plus, this intra-series scalp would have gone up against daily highs. Not the best trade to take, but nevertheless, it was a losing trade based on the rules. Going forward, we will be qualifying the intra-series scalp by the use of the SSI line. If the SSI line is pointing down, and there's been arrows recently on it, we won't take intra-series scalps. We want the intra-series scalp to be supported by the SSI, pointing up in the case of a long, and down, of course, in the case of a short scalp. Nevertheless, 6 ticks of loss here, from open to 6 ticks down. This cautionary trade. The rule for exit on trades is to take an exit when the smart line goes flat for 5 periods and then forms a contrary directional triangle, which going forward, this contrary directional triangle will print as yellow to stand out against the arrows which support direction. So in the case of a short, not arrows, excuse me. In the case of a short, triangles that are red support the direction. Triangles that are green are called opposite direction triangles, contrary directional triangles. They'll print as yellow going forward to make it easier to stand out. The rule is that when an opposite direction triangle forms, when the smart line has gone flat 5 periods without any kind of a shape, as you would see up here, that's a rule to exit the trade. This one was very close to it, but nevertheless, it's a 10-tick loser, 2.5 points of pre-market on a 1-contract trade. And the reason for that is because 1 contract is used, or half the position size is used for a cautionary trade, as it is for a scalp. So I'm using the profit and loss for the system based on the smallest contract sizes possible. 2 contracts for a primary entry, 1 contract for a scalp, and 1 contract for a cautionary primary entry. It's cautionary because the C prints it right here. For those who want to know why there's a cautionary trade, please come into the room, take a trial. You can find how to take a trial at www.es-runner.com. Go to the trial link and you can click and take a trial there. The system and its profitability are very much worth your time taking a trial. I assure you of that. But for this morning, pre-market, -6, -10 for a loss of 16 ticks, 4 points in pre-market. Going forward to 9:30, we use the 2-minute system for 9:30. Go back to these trades today. Still calculating all these bars. Give it a second. Okay. At 9:30, right here, we don't take any opens between 9:30 and 9:45. There were no trades going long or short, no scalps. Here's the 10 o'clock news event. Huge event. We don't take scalp numbers that are yellow. Those occur in the first 5 periods of the smart line after entry. They're not for the more cautious, conservative rookie trader. These are not used to gauge profit and loss for the system. Though they make money many times, I don't use them to gauge profit and loss. This scalp we did take. It was entered here in the open price, give or take a tick. It's closed 8 ticks later from the open price here. We use the open price because you'll get the open a tick worse, a tick better. It all evens itself out because in the end, the take profit of 8 ticks from the open is also calculated based on 8 ticks. So when it touches it, I calculate it as a loss or I calculate it as a gain. This, of course, is the consistent way of gauging profit and loss based on the open of a candle. You get a tick better or worse here, and you get a tick better or worse here. And it all evens itself out in the end. 8 ticks were made from here to there. This actually went a total of 10 ticks. And then this scalp here was entered. Almost made the 8 ticks, was off of it by 1 tick. Many traders took 7 ticks of profit here because we were hitting daily lows. At the daily lows right here, they took profit of about 6 ticks here. But for the rules, we held out, and it came out with a close at the first opposite direction triangle on the open of that candle for a -1 tick. This 3 is a white 3. It's not a blue 3. We take blue 3s when they fit the rules. We don't take white or yellow 3s. We don't take white or yellow scalps. We only take blue scalps. This was a scalp in the first period. Now this was a long at lunchtime. We don't take profit and loss during 12 to 1 for new entries, so therefore I'm not counting this trade even though it made 2 points. Here is a scalp at 3:28 at 1:28 in the afternoon. It went up about 4 ticks and then fell about 4 ticks. Open price is 13.55 and a half. Open price down here is 13.54 and a half for 4 ticks of lost. This primary entry short entered here. The exit rule I spoke about earlier, when the smart line goes flat during the first 5 periods of entry, it'll form an opposite direction triangle, and that's when you exit. Very simple rule for exit. Very, very simple. That was exited here for a total of 3 ticks of profit on 2 contracts. 2 contracts because it's a primary entry, not a cautionary entry. Here, a primary entry again. You put in 2 contracts. Now this trade took long to get to profit. In the room, many people sweated this trade out. Some decided to scale out of the positions, as I recommended for larger traders. Scale out of some of your positions, scale out of some contracts. When the opposite direction triangles appear, one appeared there, a second appeared here. So some might have scaled out of some of their position, but for the rules state that as long as you don't have a flat line in the smart stop loss line here, flat line occurs for 5 periods, as long as you have a shape to the smart line, you're to stay in the trade. The first 2 periods give you a shape with the V right here, nice V formation, and the scalp number, which is not to be taken, but it still shows that a lot of buyers are coming in to the first couple of candles of this long, which is a good sign. Now the trade again went sideways and took a while to get to profit, but when this sprint came in right here, the algorithms told us a bunch of buyers came in based on the SSI arrows, and when the sprint came in, it confirmed all these buyers being consistent and stronger than sellers. That sprint, from that point forward, prices went up towards the end of the day. As you can see down here, the arrows started coming on the SSI down here, as they did come here, and the prices were moving up ever since. But we want to be past the yellow to be safe, and we want to have a scalp number or sprint number come in, because the scalp number and sprint number is a greater set of algorithms, a larger filtering set of algorithms to further validate these burst and buying activities, burst and order flows on the buy side. So anyway, the traders that got in this trade here made the rate ticks of profit right here, right in here on these 3 candles, okay? From entry price here, 56.75 to 58.75. 8 ticks were made right there. And then the runner for the 2 contract position here, the second contract, was taken out at the close of the day at 3:58 for 10 ticks. So the profit for regular trading hours was 27 ticks when you add up all the numbers applied to 1 contract. For those that take more than 1 contract, obviously you made 6 3/4 points today on what was a very choppy day to trade. This was a choppy day to trade. The range for today was 12 3/4 points, of which 3 of those points were achieved on a news release. So before the news release, we were only at 9.5 points of range. Very choppy day. Nevertheless, on a choppy day, between the pre-market and regular trading hours, the ES runner still netted 2 3/4 points. For the regular trading hours, which most of you will trade, it netted 6 3/4 points. So an outstanding day. Now to jump to the euro. The euro between 2 a.m. and 12 p.m. I'm going to just make it 2 a.m. to 12 p.m. I was cutting them up between 2 a.m. and 7 a.m. and 7 a.m. and 12 p.m. That's too tricky to do because you can't really cut it off at 7 a.m. So the trading for the euro, guys, for euro currency trading is between 2 a.m. and 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's your window of best trading. 10 hours. You can pick your times. You can come in at 3 a.m. when the cash market's open in Europe. You can end at 11 a.m. when the U.S. market really scales down. So here this morning, we didn't take any trades early in the morning because they were related to news, even though this trade made 28 pips, which is the first profit target of 20 pips. It made 20 pips. We don't take it because it was a 3:20 news event. But these trades we did take. Entry here short at 26.24 was made 20 pips of profit here. The runner is brought to break even. It makes It's taken out here before the news event at 9:55 in the morning for 27 pips here. There's a primary scalp you can take, first scalp number right here, in a series of white line. That's taken after this first trade, first profit of 20 pips was made here. You can then take a next scalp, and that's primary scalp almost reached the 15 pips of profit and missed it by 1 pip. But nevertheless, rules are rules. We take it out here at the first opposite direction triangle for a total of about 2-3 pips of loss. And here, the runner made 27 pips, and then a scalp came in right here at 10:10 in the morning, and it made its 15 pips from the open price here down to 15 pips was right there. It went down about 18 pips. It made its 15 pips. That's the rule for scalps on the euro. So the net today for the euro, 60 pips, 20 plus 27 plus 15 is 62, minus 2 is 60. 60 pips made a profit on per standard, mini, or micro lot. Thank you very much. I hope to see you in the room tomorrow for these systems. They are fantastic systems which have a high success rate, and I hope you'll take the time to take a trial and see why so many traders are making money consistently every single month, every single week, with an 86% success rate. ES runner averaging 9 points a day of profit, the Euro runner averaging 45 pips a day of profit. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you soon.